Hey everybody, welcome back to the Backcountry Rookies podcast. I'm your host, Chad Riker, and today I'm just doing a roll-up. You're getting me, and it's just me. I don't have a guest. I'm doing kind of a quarterly update so that you know what's coming up here in the near future. At least the next few months leading up into elk season and then elk, mule deer, whatever, all those fall seasons, big game seasons that we have coming up. And then I got a little bit of information, just some stuff during seasons that we have planned also. So just a quick update, hopefully about 15, 20 minutes, something like that. First thing I'm going to talk about here is what we have going on currently. So currently we have a special series of podcasts, video podcasts, whatever you want to call those. And they're going out on YouTube and regular audio podcasts. So you'll be able to find them on wherever, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. And then you'll also be able to find them on our YouTube channel. Those video podcasts, we're doing those with some of our friends, our partners across the industry who we use their gear, right? They're gear related. We figured right now is a really good time to start putting these out so that people can start looking at gear and updating their gear if they need to, or if you're new to backcountry hunting, it might be a good time to start thinking and looking at different options that you may want to go in with, right? So things that you may want to purchase or need to purchase. So a couple of examples of those is just recently I had on Seek Outside. That one's already published on the YouTube channel. It was a great video that we did with Dennis from Seek. And of course, so right now we're in the middle of the COVID pandemic, whatever, crisis, whatever you call it. And so a lot of these, we're doing them via Skype, very similar to how I'm recording this right here. And so Dennis set up in his backyard a Red Cliff TP, a Cimarron TP, and then a Silex little one-man kind of a bug-out shelter. And he set all those up in his backyard, and then I Skyped with him, and we were able to video all of that. And he goes through the different options that those different shelters have, and some of the options that Seek offers, as well as some of the outside of their shelters too. He talks about stoves. He talks about the backpacks that they offer. The Red Cliff has a half nest set up in it, so you can kind of see what a half nest is. You can understand what that option looks like. And then he has a Cimarron that has a little I think it's a medium or a large U-turn stove. I don't remember which one it is, but it's a titanium ultra lightweight stove. And then he has a liner in that shelter as well. And he talks about what the functions of all of those. Like he talks about the functions of the half nest and the liner and why they might benefit you and how you can use those. And then he covers the Silex, which is a really, really cool little one-man shelter that you could put a nest inside of it. And it actually has a stove jack in it too. So you could make that a hot tent if you wanted to, and it would stay super ultra light. So anyway, Seek comes on and talks about all of that. I had Sitka on here. Sitka came on to talk about layering systems, which I think is super, super important. Unfortunately, I recorded that show before I had this idea to start doing these via Skype and on YouTube. So the plan right now is to get them to come back on, and we'll just do an abbreviated show or abbreviated video of that podcast to bring on some of the things that we hit on pretty hard during that podcast, like the Core lightweight hoodie, the Kelvin Active jacket, the Ascent pants, and then their new items that they have, like their down jacket that's new, and their bino harness that came out this year also. And then we talk in depth about different layering systems for different environments. And so we may cover some of those like very basic layering systems as well. But that'll be abbreviated. I think that podcast was a little over an hour, if I remember right. And my plan is to just have Jay and John come back on for about 15 minutes and whatever it takes so that we can cover those essential pieces of that layering system. I also have Go Hunt coming on. So same thing with Go Hunt. I pre-recorded that show a while back before I started the videos, and I had Brian and Jared. They came on. They work in Brian is the store manager, and then Jared helps him out. And I had them come on, and they talked a lot about some of the gear that they carry and some of their more popular items that they carry in the Go Hunt store. And then we hammered home the boots. So Go Hunt is carrying boots now, and they're carrying some different brands that are super nice. All of those have been tested. They have their own process for fitting. Since it's very difficult to fit boots when they're online, obviously you can't put your foot in them. They have a system that you can kind of read through in their store on the website. Like if you click on, I bought a pair of Saliwa Rapace GTXs from them, and if you go to that particular boot and then you read about the specifics on the side of it, it'll tell you how that boot fits, the stiffness. They talk about the stiffness scale. They'll tell you for what kind of foot do you need to upsize, a half a size, whatever. It's a great system. So they're going to come on and talk a lot more about that. And then I did an abbreviated show with Jared and Brian where we go to the Go Hunt headquarters, or they're at the headquarters, and I'm sitting here in my house. But they're at the headquarters, and they show off the showroom out front. We kind of walk through their trophy room areas, which is freaking incredible. I can't believe the amount of animals they got hanging on the walls in there. So super cool. And then we go back into the warehouse, and Brian shows us some of the products that they have in the warehouse and some of the items that they carry. And then we talk about boots. So Jared is their boot guy, and Jared's there with him, and he runs through some of the different kinds of boots and shows you. He kind of twists them and shows you the flex, what a 4 flex looks like versus a 3, and just kind of we look a little bit at that stiffness. Anyway, very abbreviated. It's a really quick show. I enjoyed it. I like all those guys over at Go Hunt and really, really like them. So it was cool to do that. We also have Brad Brooks from Argali Outdoors be coming on. We're going to talk about kill kits, what's necessary to have in a kill kit, what should you keep with you, why should it be in your bag all the time. We're going to talk about the game bags that Argali has, and then also their carbon knife that they have too, which is phenomenal. I have both here, and they're very nice. I haven't used the game bags yet. I just got them. But I have used that carbon knife to debone a coos deer, and it's incredible. It's a really, really nice knife. I was impressed with the sharpness of it. And then just kind of the shape of the blade is really nice, too. So it has kind of a finer point tip on the blade, and I use that finer tip for just kind of that delicate work where you got to get in there and clean up some of those really tight spots. And then just the drop of the blade itself is super nice too. So cool knife. We'll talk about that a lot more, and I'll let Brad, certainly, he'll talk about the design and how they came to the design that they have. Stone Glacier's going to come on. We're going to talk about packs with them. And then we got a few others. Jordan and I are going to do a show that's just really kind of all of the extra little things that you might have in your pack that are maybe not essential, but man, you sure do. They're sure nice to have. Items like a Garmin InReach Mini or InReach whatever, first aid kit, just little things like that. Just little stuff. Water filtration. So Jordan and I are going to cover that stuff, and that'll be coming out all through May and June. Gear shows are May through June, so you can expect to see a lot of that. And we got a couple of other ones too. That are going to be pretty cool too. So gear is one thing, right? Everybody needs gear, but I'm also a big believer that you need education just as much as you need the cool guy gear. Actually, you need the education way more than you need that cool guy gear. So I'm going to get Corey Jacobson to come on here from Elk 101's University of Elk Hunting, of course, and we'll talk to Corey about the University of Elk Hunting and how that can benefit the listeners and the followers, everybody that follows along. I think that's super important. And of course, Elk 101 is one of our sponsors, and we're super proud to have Elk 101 as a sponsor. And there's a reason for that, right? We were really, really happy to sign on with those guys because of that educational platform. And it's one of our core values that we have as backcountry rookies: prepare, inspire, and educate. And it's essential. So anyway, Corey will be coming on. I'm going to try to do that the same way, where we get him on, we do video, and we can chat a little bit and do some other stuff. So look forward to that one too. So coming up after the gear show, I've got I just did a custom rifle build. Well, I didn't do it, right? But I acquired all of the pieces to make a custom rifle, and it's a 6.5 PRC, which is a round that I was super interested in ever since it came out. I think it's a really cool round. and I think the potential of it is phenomenal. I think it's great for almost any game out there, right? All the way up through elk. And anyway, I just wanted to build one, and I wanted to build it on a custom rifle. So I have several rifles, and I've had customs in the past, and I really, really like custom rifles. Why wouldn't you, right? So I did this custom, and so the plan for that is I'm going to have on all of the companies that were involved in that build. I'm going to have them come on, and then each one outside of the action, which I use the Curtis Custom Action. So each one of those companies, I wanted them to come on and talk about why and how their particular items, proof barrels, XLR chassis, Timney triggers. I had a Patriot Valley muzzle brake on there. How each one of those items can benefit you individually. So if you got an old, pick your model of rifle, right? Grandpa's old 30-06, and you want to upgrade it, you're having some accuracy issues, it's had 5,000 rounds go through it in the last 30 years or whatever, and you want to do some upgrades to that rifle, how can each one of these help and benefit that rifle to make better accuracy and just to make it a better rifle? Barrels, chassis, triggers, all of those things can benefit that rifle to make it more accurate. So they're coming on to talk about it. Now, Curtis Customs, I had the action company come on the show because I wanted to talk about if you really do want to build a custom action, what do you get from a custom action that you're not going to get from an off-the-shelf store-bought rifle that you pick up at Walmart or Bass Pro Shop or something. So what are the benefits? The cool thing about when I had Curtis Customs on is they're here local. So I'm in San Antonio right now. I'm getting ready to move, so I'm kind of excited about that. But Curtis Customs is right down the road in Hondo, Texas, and so is Jed Knowlton from Sage Precision. And Jed is the custom rifle builder that I had build the rifle. So I actually went over there the other day, and I sat down with Chase Curtis and Jed Knowlton, and we recorded a podcast that same day that I was picking up the rifle. So it was really cool to be able to sit down face-to-face with those guys. I got to spend some time with them. I was out there for a couple of hours, and it was just cool. We got to talk a lot about rifles and hunting in Texas and hog hunting, just a bunch of stuff, right? We just BSing as it is. A bunch of guys standing around rifles. What else you going to do? So expect that show to come out. And then, like I said, there'll be several different shows talking about custom rifles or how individual pieces can help you upgrade your current rifle. Final project with that custom rifle build is, again, here in Hondo, Texas, there's a company called Evolved Ballistics. And Paul over at Evolved Ballistics operates educational platforms over there to help with long-range shooting. He's got several different courses that he offers. And I'm actually going to run through one of those courses with Paul and spend a day over there and go through long-range shooting. There's a classroom portion. I'm going to go through that classroom portion and just brush up on some of my fundamentals. I know how to shoot. I've always kind of been a shooter. I did 20 years in the military. Not that that really means anything. The military teaches you the very basic fundamentals of how to shoot, and that's about it. However, there are other classes that you can go through in the military that teach you a lot more about shooting, and I've had the opportunity to go through a couple of those. So it'll be really cool to take some of that military education, military knowledge that I had, and then go through this long-range shooting school with Paul, and I'm really excited about that. And the plan for that one is to go through the training, spend the whole day out there and go through the training, and then to wrap it all up, we're going to do a podcast talking about all of those fundamentals, and then I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So it'd be cool to sit down with Paul and listen to that. Sorry for those looking or for those watching this. I have notes over here that I'm reading off of. That's why I keep looking over there. For those that are listening to this, you don't care because you can't see me anyway. So that's the custom rifle build project. That's going to be rolling out in July, and it'll run in a little bit into August. I think I've got 6 shows that I'm going to record, so that'll be July and then into August. That brings me to rolling into season, right? last year we did a special series. All of these special series will release on Mondays. That's the way I've been doing those. That's the way I did them last year. Those go out on Mondays, and then the regular show goes out on Wednesday. And we're going to keep that rotation going. I like that. It gives us something early in the week, and it gives you something midweek to kind of get you over that hump to get you into the weekend. So once we hit hunting season, my plan this year is to run the same series that I did last year, which was the stories from the season. And if you remember, those of you that have been following along for a while, if you remember, Stories from the Season was a way for me to get some of my friends who had good, successful hunts come on, or previous guests. So oftentimes on these podcasts and things, I'll have people on and we talk about hunts that they have planned and what tags that they drew, and then that's it. You just, at the end of every show, I usually say, well, what hunts you got planned? What do you got going on? And they say, oh man, I drew this great elk unit, or, I have an awesome mule deer hunt. And that's kind of the end of it, right? We drop that. We don't ever go back and listen to that story. So Stories from the Season is an opportunity for me to bring those previous guests or my buddies on, whatever, and have them come on and tell the story from that particular hunt that they had. It was super fun last year. I really enjoyed it. I think we pushed out about 12 or 13 of those. And I tried to keep them short and sweet. None of a bunch of background talk, none of that kind of stuff. It was really just tell me about your hunt, and it was really, really good. So what was really cool about it was, so again, I mentioned our core values earlier of prepare, inspire, and educate. And I thought I took a lot away that hit each one of those core values from that Stories from the Season. I learned something from every person that came on. I was certainly inspired by every person that came on, because many of them were just telling amazing stories about their hunts. And then there's usually some sort of preparation that you pull out of it. Maybe they tell you about a piece of gear that they had that didn't work, or how they were e-scouting for a unit, or how they were able to put boots on the ground for a particular unit. And so it sort of brings everything together when you hear that whole story of that hunt. So we're going to run that again this year, and we're super excited to get that started. Last year, I think I started it in September and ran it into like all the way through the year. This year, I'm going to start it and run it October and November, and then a little bit of December. So there'll be a few less shows, but I just think it'll be better. That way we can start, in October, we'll start picking up those archery elk hunts and things like that, and then we'll be able to link up with people and get those stories told. So anyway, that's that. Let's see here. Sponsorship stuff. I wanted to announce, and you probably already know this because we've been with Vortex Optics now as a sponsor for about a month, or a little over a month. And we were just super, super happy and super proud to be partnered up and sponsored by Vortex Optics. So I've been using Vortex for a long time, way before this podcast, way before backcountry hunting and anything. When I first got into shooting, and I had a big old heavy-barreled old 308 Savage that was a tack driver. That thing had a Vortex on top of it, and I've used Vortex for a long time. We've used some other brands in the past, and somehow or another, I always circle back and I end up back with a Vortex on top of my rifle. So that just kind of goes to show that I've always been impressed by them. And when we decided to work a deal with Vortex Optics, I couldn't have been more proud. We're very, very proud of all of the sponsors that we have. So Vortex Optics, Go Hunt, of course, we talked a lot about them earlier, and then University of Elk Hunting from Elk 101. Very proud of all of those, to have all of those sponsors. They're great companies, and we encourage you guys to use all of those companies too. Anyway, yes, so Vortex Optics, great company. Check them out if you don't know who they are, which I can't imagine that you don't. But check them out. So one of the things that we really liked about Vortex was that they have such a wide variety of optics, right? They have everything from the very, very basic beginner type of optics all the way up to for binoculars, they have their new line of UHD, Razor UHD binoculars, which are fantastic. I have a pair of 10 by 42s, and I used to use the regular Razor HDs, which are an incredible bino. Now I have the UHDs, and I was very surprised at how good those binos are. They are very good. Of course, they have their spotting scope lines that are the same way. You can get very, very basic, or you can get up into their razor line, which is incredible optics there too. They have great rangefinders, rifle scopes, of course. So you can also expect in those gear series, we're going to have Vortex come on. I just confirmed last night, actually, that we're going to get them on. And for the gear series, we're going to be talking with Vortex about binos, spotting scopes, and rangefinders. And then for the custom rifle build series, I put one of the new Razor HD LHT 3-15 by 50s on my 6.5 PRC build. So the plan is to get Vortex on for that special series, and we're going to talk about rifle scopes and applications for rifle scopes. When would you want to put a Diamondback on a rifle, and what kind of rifle would you want a Diamondback on? And then when would you want to put that Razor HD LHT on something? Or when would you want to put even all the way up to like the Razor AMG? And we're going to talk applications for hunting and then also for competition type stuff. So PR.